Welcome to the Red Raider Coaches Show. I'm your host, Joe Hayes, and I'm here with our head coach, Keith Goss. Coach, welcome to another Coaches Show, Week 9.
Coaches Show, Week 9.
Yes, sir. So, Coach, we're coming off another very, very close game that just did not go our way, and we'll go a little depth into that and talk about it and discuss it and break it down and see what your takeaway is from the game and maybe what some of the players took away from the game and how we're going to move on to these next 2 weeks. But before we go into the game, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more. I know we've talked a lot about the Touchdown Club and what the Touchdown Club does, but let's dissect it even more and maybe expand on what we look to the future, what it could be, and how we can make a difference and how we can even grow and improve more.
Well, the thing I'd love to grow and improve next is the amount of people we have in our Booster Club. And not that we haven't had people join the Booster Club, but the people actually at the meetings, the number of parents getting involved at the meetings. We have a steady group of probably 12 people or so that are there and really run a lot of the things. And there's a lot of people that support it financially, but I'd love to see the presence of more bodies involved. It's like anything else. The more manpower or woman power you have, the more you're going to accomplish.
Right.
And the easier tasks are going to get done, and the more tasks that can be split up amongst different groups and different ways that we can have moms involved that enjoy cooking and maybe feed the guys a little bit more during the week after practice and things of that nature. Just that's another evolution or another step in our building process.
Well, basically what you're saying there, and Coach, like right now, basically there's 12 people that pretty much spread out all tasks within about 12 people that they share all the tasks that have got to be done. Things that happen in the Booster Club, you got people that go out and sell sponsorships to do signs. You've got, we had a Wall of Fame committee. We had we're looking at scoreboard possible committee coming up.
Right.
We've got food committees. We've got the finance committee that keeps up with the money and tracking all that, and there's fundraising committee.
Right. There's definitely plenty of opportunities to get involved and help where you're comfortable. Help where you're good at, and that's something we got to continue to grow. Much like we grew our team from, we finished with 34 the first year to I think we're around 59 right now. Obviously there's a lot of growth in those numbers, and we want some of those parents to feel comfortable coming to the Booster Club. We want them to be a part of it.
Right.
Just like we want more and more kids. I hope next year we're sitting, with 70 kids and we're trying to find places to put them in the locker room.
Yeah.
We want to continue to grow this program and make it better. And one of the next things we're going to have to do is grow the Booster Club along with it. And
some changes that we've made, and our president, John Hughes, he's done a really good job. He brings us a layout of what the topics that we need to go over, and we'll generally have 8 to 10 topics, and we'll run through them as quickly as possible. And then the meeting usually after that opens up for time for discussion with you. It allows if parents have any question or if any booster members have any questions, Coach, why did we do this? Or Coach, why did we run that? How do we look for next week? And a lot more detail than you're going to get on here. We don't want to give away too much on the Coaches Show because we don't want our opposing team to read into what our game plan is and those type things. But you can get a better understanding of why Coach plays, who he plays, or why he's running certain plays, or what his plan of attack is, and more details into the chess match of coming into the upcoming games, or what you think happened in the past game. You would open up a little more in that setting than we would publicly here on TV. And but anytime any of that help, it's amazing. Something as simple as us being able to have somebody to do make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. that frees up one of our booster members that may be out trying to sell signs.
Right.
And gives them more time to focus on raising money and do those type things.
And there's times where, you know, like on the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, we have our lunchroom staff helps make those when we're in school. Mm-hmm. But there's times, you know, where we're shut down for a week here for distance learning, or shut down a week here for distance learning, where, you know, it's our booster club jumping in there and figuring out how we feed them during the week. And it's important to have people there and the manpower there to do that.
Well, I commend our team in what they've done for our program. And there's some really, really hard-working people. The majority of the ones in the Touchdown Club don't even have a child in the program.
Correct.
And they're just doing this for the love of Red Raiders and the love of these young men. And, you know, I commend them for that dedication to this program, to Raider Nation and Red Raider football, what they do. And we want your help. We want to get you out, get you incorporated in, whether it's the easiest or simplest of task. You let us know what your strong points are, and you can let us know where you feel you can help, and we'll share with you the different areas that we have where work is needed. And again, just like Coach said, if we are going to continue to build this program, and we want to get it to a level of a championship type program,
correct,
this is another area that we really need to continue to grow and build upon. And with your help, parents and Raider Nation, just because your child is not playing or you don't have a kid in the program doesn't mean that you can't come volunteer time. And I promise you, you will see blessings from it, because just being able to be involved in these players and seeing them, watching them grow, being involved in the program, seeing the program grow, it's definitely, there's a lot of good things that you can take away from it. And I encourage you, anyone, reach out to any of the Touchdown Club members, shoot a private message on our Facebook page. If you want to, you can send me one. You know, I won't make anything public. I'll make you aware of the times. I'll text you. We'll do whatever we need to do to help you be able to come out and support us and help us in any way possible. And Coach, I thank you for your time of, you know, talking more about that. And that's something I know that's on your heart, and the Touchdown Club. You know, we all want to see this to continue and grow, and that parent support is big.
Right, and it's like anything else. There's several steps we're going to do to build this program, year by year by year, and that's just another one where we could take a big step forward in the things we do, with just getting more people involved.
Right. All right, Coach. Well, let's go into the tough part of the discussion here. Let's talk about last week. So Swainsboro came into town here at home, and you know, it was another game where even me, just my personal opinion, I felt like we were the better team on the field, but it was one of them nights I felt like we were flat. Again, this is my personal opinion. I'm speaking, but as just from what I've seen on the field, I just felt like there was a little bit of flatness, but the players, they didn't quit. They played. We just couldn't quite get things going.
Yeah, there was. I wouldn't go as far as say as it was flat. I'll go as far as say that focus-wise, we never got clicking offensively, and you know, the kids were playing hard. Defense played their heart out. Offensively, they were playing hard. They just couldn't get in a rhythm, and it was frustrating. But they never stopped working. We didn't protect the football, and that's one of those things I talk about every week. Drives where we're usually accustomed to getting the ball down the field and moving the ball and having some chunk plays and some spark. They just didn't happen for us, and we turned over the ball a lot more than we're accustomed to, and that, you know, ended up, you know, being the difference.
And that's one thing I was trying to, from the press box, I was trying to determine, was it flat or defensively, were they hitting us enough or creating enough pressure that it had us off our game? And there was times I felt both ways, because I've seen a lot of good plays defensively by Swainsboro
Yeah.
that
I mean,
made us work for everything that we got.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Swainsboro. You know, their defense is a good defense. Number 4 at linebacker is probably one of the best linebackers in the region, if not the best linebacker in the region. He was a football player. And those guys that they have going to NC State, while we held them, you know, in check offensively for most of the night,
Yeah.
they did get off the edge and you know, create some pressure at very, you know, the very least. And so when they were on defense, so no, I don't think by any means we had our best game offensively, but our kids battled, they competed. I'm proud of them. They just have to learn, and as a team, we have to learn how to, in the close games, the fact that, you know, we deserve to be there is the first part. And once you know you deserve to be there in those type of football games, figuring out how to win them against good opponents.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's really been the story of the last 2 weeks.
Well, Coach, we had another game where I know we're beating a dead horse here, but you know, felt like 2 weeks in a row that we definitely had some calls that was an influencing factor. But at the same time, I know you preach on that we can't.
You can't live that way. You got to keep building and building. You know, there's going to be bad calls go against you in a football game. Most likely there's going to be things that go against you in life. And when that happens, you can't stop. You can't feel bad about it. You know, you got to find a way to overcome it. And we have to learn how to do that as a team. You know, if I'm sitting there and looking at the film, yeah, I have my opinions about it. But at the end of the day, my opinion about it doesn't change the score.
Yeah.
We're trying to find a way in that moment and during the game to overcome that situation, and hopefully, you know, play at a high level and not be penalized when we're in those situations. Now, I know the play that you're referencing, and
it was on Mason's rushing touchdown where he kept the ball and he rushed in.
No, there's on Bruce's when Bruce went in.
It was Bruce. Okay, I'm thinking of the previous game.
You know,
back with
those are things that, you know, they're human beings.
Yeah.
They're making a judgment as they see it. We have the advantage of video, and that, you know, doesn't lie.
Yeah, and I watched it probably 12 times myself.
But that, with that being said, something like that happens, we still go down and find a way to kick a field goal and go up 9-7 at that point. We're in a football game,
Yeah.
and we're winning. You know, that wasn't the end of the game. We still had opportunities. We had a turnover late. Just things that we can do better to finish a game. And so, no, I was not a fan of that call in that situation. But what I'm going to constantly preach and teach my guys is we still had other opportunities to go out there and win that game and finish it.
That's right. And it wasn't that one call. There was 3 or 4 other things that kept us
ourselves that we did ourselves. Yes, that call was unfortunate and in my eyes incorrect. But there was other opportunities that we had in spite of that to go win that game. And that's where the focus needs to be put.
Yeah.
That's where we need to get better. And I just refuse to look at it any other way.
And when you say when players perform at a higher level, do you mean like typically if your team is firing on all cylinders and the game momentum starts that way and the refs see that's a feel or a sense of the game, a lot of times you may get away with certain things because are you saying that I think that he had the ability, he just come off of that or he did that?
I think as your team continues to improve, I do think there's times that teams get away with stuff because of their reputation.
Yeah.
that they're just supposed to be better. And but that's human nature. They're going to give the benefit, to the doubt to Michael Jordan on a call. They're going to give the benefit of the doubt to LeBron James on a call. And so if your team's producing at a higher level, on a regular basis, then you're going to get the benefit by human nature of somebody calling that's a referee.
I got you, and that's what I thought that you were trying to say on that. I was just trying to clarify it a little better. Well, we talked some there offensively. We kind of struggled throughout the night. It looks like we took a couple of injuries from the game on the offensive side of the ball. Is there any injuries that we coming into this week that you've seen that may hold us back?
I mean, this time of year, nobody's just completely healthy.
Right.
Everybody's a little banged up. But that's just football. That's just where we're at.
I got you.
There's just nothing I would, definitely talk about on air.
I got you. On the defensive side of the ball, Coach, it was definitely a defensive game. When you've got a 10-9 score as a finish, it's very rare, or it's not that often. It's not very rare. It's just not that often that you see two teams go head to head. But when you get two pretty equal teams, and I thought both our teams defensively did an outstanding job to keep either offense from breaking big plays or having big things happen and creating turnovers and things of that nature. But their defense ultimately, at the end of the night, I'd say won the battle against us because they ended up 1 point ahead. But and I give credit to their offense for what they've done as well. In special teams, they kicked the field goal. The whole game I'm sitting here questioning, why they had not kicked the field goal or they go for it on 4th down. Was their kicker, was that the reason he was questioning his ability to make those field goals? But he put a good ball through the uprights, and I said, well, he's definitely had the legs. So
I think it made it over by about 4 feet.
Yeah. So, but it got there.
It got there.
It got there. It got over. It was enough leg, and it was enough to secure the win. And defensively, anything major, injury-wise, on that side of the ball?
I mean, same thing. We got some guys banged up this point of the year, which is uncommon. But we're going to continue to work through it. But that's football.
Yeah. Well, I know you're not going to go into detail, so let me ask you this way then. So, are there any players is there 1, 2, 3, 4 players that you think this Friday night that may not be able to play due to injury?
There's a chance of that.
There's a chance. I got you. So, well, you're just taking it day by day then.
That's right. I mean, and obviously some of these things are game time decisions, depending on how much they're going to play or their ability to move around. But we know that these kids are going hard. They're trying to play hard, and if they have the ability to go and we feel like they can do it without hurting themselves worse, then we'll give them the opportunity to play.
I got you. Well, I know they want to play, and ultimately, if they can and they feel like it is, but you as a coach and your coaching staff want to see their safety and health come first.
At the end of the day, it's my responsibility to take care of a kid.
Yeah.
And I get it. You work hard. You spend all this time preparing, watching film, lifting, putting in the hours that we put in to build this program, and you want to be out there and play when it matters. I get all that, but I also get at the end of the night, I want to know that my players can pick up their kids one day and play with them in the yard. If there's an injury that's questionable, then obviously it's my job to protect the kid.
Yeah. Well, good deal. Well, Coach, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about West Lawrence, our opponent, this tomorrow actually. So I say this upcoming week, it's tomorrow. East Lawrence, man, I'm just not.
Just say, man, just throw them all in there.
Yeah, might as well. East, West, Dublin. They don't have but 3 football teams there. So anyway, we have East Lawrence, and we'll have a little discussion about that. But we want to get our sponsors some recognition real quick, so we're going to take a short break. Welcome back to the Red Raider Coaches Show. Coach, let's go into East Lawrence. East Lawrence, and have a little discussion about them. I believe we got to travel up to Dexter, Georgia. Is that where they're located, roughly?
Dublin?
I know it's in Dublin, the little town outside. So, you know, we do have in Alma, you got Rockingham community, you got Scuffletown, you got different.
And I think you are correct.
Yeah.
I think it is Dexter.
And I could be wrong there. I may be completely off again, but that may be West Lawrence. Who knows? But we'll see. I'll put it on the Facebook page and have it corrected.
Don't worry, by the time you post this and people watch it, they'll respond and read it.
So what can we expect out of East Lawrence going up to the big city of Dublin?
They're athletic. Coach Turner, Ben Turner, does a good job. He worked with me 2 years at McIntosh as my special teams coordinator. He's a high energy guy, really defensive minded guy. Loves his 3-4 scheme. Some of our special teams are going to line up similar for the time that we work together in McIntosh. He's going to do a good job, and he's going to have them prepared to bless.
I got you. Who can we compare them to? Who do you feel like that we've played so far? Who would you kind of compare them up to?
I don't know if they have the same guys up front, but I would say they're comparable to Swainsboro.
Yeah, and that's what I felt too. And even watching that film, they looked like two pretty similar teams.
Right. Scheme-wise, they're very similar. They have some athletes, but as far as some of the same size that Swainsboro had up front, Swainsboro overwhelmed them a little bit as the game went along. But it was a very close game between both of them for I believe 3 quarters.
Yeah, and then finally in the fourth quarter,
Swainsboro pulled away from them.
So again, offensively, Coach, East Lawrence, are they similar type gameplay as what Swainsboro?
Yeah, they're going to spread it out. And
are they more run heavy, or are they more pass? Are they pretty equal?
I'm going to say they're a little more run heavy, but it's very similar mindset. Needy, not greedy, opportunistic. Really take what the defense gives you, kind of philosophy, which is very similar to mine.
I got you. On the defensive side of the ball, you said he's more in a 3-4.
More in a 3-4. Loves to bring pressure. Loves to blitz. That's his style of play. And if he thinks he can get home, he'll send him.
Yeah.
So if he thinks 7, if it takes 7 to get there, and he can get him there before you throw it, he's going to send 7. But that's he also sees who we have back there throwing it, and that he can move around the pocket. And if he sends that many, he better get him home.
I got you.
So.
Well, Coach, pretty much all season you've stuck to your word. You've played 11 starters on offense and 11 starters on defense. Getting this late in the season, I did notice, we did play a few players both ways against Swainsboro. It may have been one, but I did notice there was a few that did come in both ways. Is that something you're changing a little bit here late in the season, or is it something you're still kind of sticking true to?
Well, I've always said our number one backup is generally going to be a guy that starts on the other side. The thing is, we haven't really gotten to that backup many times. And you're starting to see it. I mean, it's obviously, there are some positions we have depth in, where we have, 3 guys that start on the D line and then 1 or 2 guys that roll in. Well, we have a little more depth in that position, whereas in linebacker, you're going to see Terrion jump into the mix a little earlier, due to injury and some other things.
Right, I got you. And any of the other players that you made, I know in the past we've played Mason and played some defensively and offensively, but he's also coming off of a pretty major injury last year, and you don't want to jeopardize that.
So there's a balance there. Obviously, we like him in the secondary. He does a great job there defensively, but you have to balance that of where you are in the game versus what he brings to the offense. And that's a balancing act.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, we feel like he's a talented football player and that he has an ability to help us on both sides. But where he normally helps us, you know, that kid's not too shabby either.
Right.
And so it just really depends on the health of the guys and where they fit. So, you know, as a philosophy, no, I don't believe in starting anybody both ways if I can help it.
Yeah.
And that's something I'll always believe in. Now, if we don't have the depth, we don't have the depth, and we'll plan and scheme accordingly. But, you know, crunch time, it's not uncommon if you see a couple guys playing both ways, especially guys that are, you know, some of our playmakers on offense jumping over in a spot or two and helping us on defense. You know, that's just football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just putting some of your best guys out there at the end of the game with a chance to win it.
Well, Coach, you know, whether I've agreed with it or haven't agreed with it, one thing that I have agreed with or I have seen out of your philosophy that I've grew into is, you know, last season we watched that depth grow as those 11 players played. So you committed to it and you did it. So we seen the amount of depth grow tremendously. There's 22 players on the field, and let's say you play 14 players.
Right.
That play those 22 spots. So that means that you're playing.
I know that's something that hasn't been done here before. And there's several things that I've pushed one direction or another that may not have been done here before. But I don't really just come up with these things like if I'm staying up at night and like, man, you know, it'd be really neat is these are things that the top tier programs are doing. So when we push to do more of a feeding program, when we push to get our athletic trainer in place, when I push things to two platoon, is it always going to be perfect? No, maybe not. You know, maybe we have the depth to do it, maybe we don't. But I do know this. I do know that's what teams that are highly successful are doing.
Right.
And I think the more we develop our players, the more players we get involved, the more opportunities those players have to get on the field and compete, the stronger our program will grow over time. I know, you know, we're all wishing right now that we're sitting at 6-2 instead of 4-4. With that being said, the program's growing in the right direction, and it's a heck of a lot better than we were sitting here last year at 0-8.
Yeah.
So, you know, just moving, you know, I know that's not everybody's philosophy, and that's, you know, guys that have lived here their whole life, we've always played Ironman football, and, you know, well, that's true, but a lot of times the we've always done it this way, a philosophy is what stops progress.
I got you. Well, and the reason I asked that, you know, we talked about it last week, we talked about it a few weeks before, more and more, but coming out of this game as I was exiting the stadium, you know, I was asked that question several times. Not that people were being ugly about it, they were just asking why. Why I felt like if we had or if this or that, you know, and just second guessing. Anytime we watch a game and then when the game's over, then we can say, well, if we did this, if we threw the ball here instead of run the ball.
Oh yeah, well that's a part of it, and I don't mind that part of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy that everybody's there to support, you know, support the kids and support the program, and they paid their $8 or whatever they paid to be in the red seats. And you know, that's part of their ticket value.
It is.
They get to sit there and second guess Coach Goss all they want to. All I can say is, you know, I'm with the players in the developmental process. I'm with the players and the coaches when we scheme and prepare for our opponents. And I'm with the players that are on the practice field. And I have a little more knowledge on the subject.
Yeah.
And I love my guys and I love my team, but if we didn't feel like we were putting them in the best place to be successful, we'd make a change.
Well, Coach, definitely, and there's no question, I don't think anybody, you put our team in position to win 2 weeks in a row here. We've taken 2 losses against Toombs and Swainsboro here. 2 good programs, 2 successful, one, top 10 in the state. And we were within position. We go into double overtime. And a point I wanted to make is both of those teams beat us by 38 points each last year. And I heard Coach John David Sellers, and as we were feeding the players after the game this past Friday against Waynesboro, and he was talking with the guys as they come by, and trying to get their spirits up as well. He said, you realize that the team that beat us by 38 points last year, we came within 1. The next battle is we've made that much margin. Think about, if you keep doing what you're doing, next year we're going to have that point gap on them if we continue to improve at the rate that we're improving.
And this is the thing, there weren't any shortcuts taken. And I know that's sometimes, you can take shortcuts and get by and be willing to not set your standard the way you want it. And here's the thing, we're building this program the right way for long-term success. And I believe that with all my heart. And I'm going to continue to build it that way. Am I seeing every result I would love to see year 2? No. Do I perfectly believe I will see every result I want to see by year 12? Absolutely.
I got you. So it is, again, a long-term goal that we all have to be patient to see it grow, myself included. So and like I said, I'm right here. I'm behind you 100%. But at the same time, I pay my $8, and I have the right out. Coach Goss, why do we do this?
And that doesn't bother me. It doesn't. It shows that people care. Yeah. And that's fine, as long as it's done in a respectful nature.
Right.
And that's and most people do. They just want to know, and that's okay.
The biggest thing I can say about our base is our base is hungry to win.
Right.
And they've shown that by the support that they've given our program.
Absolutely.
They've shown that by the efforts that they've given to the program. They've shown that by showing up to the stadium, and it doesn't go unseen.
No, it's definitely appreciated. I love it for our guys, the fact that people have come out and supported this team, and they've played for them. They've played for the fan base. They've played for the crowd, and they love the crowd being there.
Yeah.
And so it's making it more important. I would love to, for us to take the next step and not just be competitive, be dominant, but it is a step by step process. We went to the point from last year when I got here, and trying to physically build guys up to where now we physically in most matchups can compete. We're still not dominant yet, and so there's more steps to go. But I'm not deterred where we're at. I think it is part of the growth process, and we're going to continue to do the next right thing and continue to build the program.
Well, Coach, I definitely appreciate your time. I know you need to get back to work. Y'all got some practice this afternoon, and you guys got to get out there to the field, so I don't want to keep you any longer and keep you away from getting our team prepared for tomorrow night. And I'm super excited for everyone that can to come over and travel with us to West Lawrence and support Coach and our, I said it again, West Lawrence. I tell you what threw me off. Somebody, I'm gonna blame T-Boy. T-Boy, if you watch this, he stopped me in the grocery store and he threw West Lawrence at me, and it's just stuck in my head now. So East Lawrence. So T-Boy, if you're watching, I'm blaming you on this one. I'm kidding. It's on me. But East Lawrence, travel up with us to East Lawrence. We'll post directions for everyone to make sure it's clear where to go, because this is a new region opponent. I don't think I've actually been to the stadium, before, but as far as a program wise, I don't think we've ever traveled up that I can remember in some time up to that school to play not football. So that's something else that'll be interesting, that we can dig into the history and see if there's any previous matchups with Bacon County. So we'll try to get all that out there and bring all this news to you, Raider Nation, and get it all out. But we'd love to see you up there. Come support our Red Raiders. And Brent, is there anything BCTV you guys are going to be able to broadcast? What?
As far as I know.
As far as you know.
Yeah.
So you really don't know till you get there.
That's right.
So,
I know that they broadcast as well.
Okay.
So that they should have a setup. You know, we should be okay.
So a worst case scenario, if you can't, you will be able to see
you'll be able
their
to watch
broadcast.
their
It'll be
broadcast.
their announcers.
That's correct.
And
That's worst case scenario. That's
yeah.
correct.
But we will try to have ours up, and we thank BrentJohnson and BCTV for their support to make all these streams possible. And I know there's a lot of people due to the pandemic that have not been able to get out and are so very thankful. And Brent, they tell me time in and time out how much they appreciate you and your team and your guys that you have go up there. And if you want to give any of your helpers there, give a shout out. I know your son Jake Johnson's one of them.
Jake helps. Carson Taylor, senior, is my biggest sidekick this year. Just a great young man.
Oh, he does a phenomenal job.
He does a great job on the camera and anything else I ask him to do. So I really appreciate him for sure.
Well, what I like about him is he's one of those kids. If you ask him to do something, you can 100% guarantee that it's done. And I've just seen that with, you asking him to do things and everything. I've never seen him fall without question. So we appreciate their help and what BCTV does. And Coach, any last things you'd like to say?
No.
All right. Well, Raider Nation, we appreciate you. We thank you for tuning in. We'll be back on again next week to give you a breakdown of East Lawrence, to let you know how the game went. And Coach, we hope to come away with a win. And
absolutely,
we'll see you all there. Coach, go Big Red.
Horns up.